Buried in a spreadsheet almost nobody outside tennis ever opens, one number just shifted. 28. That's where Alex Eala currently sits. But here's the question that should keep you up tonight. What if 28 is already old news, and the story you think you're watching is 3 weeks behind reality? Something is stirring in the WTA rankings that hardly anyone is discussing, and by the time it's obvious, Alex may have vanished from the 20s entirely, gone somewhere most didn't expect her to reach until 2027. Stick around, this is a countdown, starting with one stat that sounds dull until you grasp what it's hiding. Between now and the close of a year, Alex only has 190 points to protect. Hold on to that figure, everything ahead only clicks once you understand what it represents. Rewind to the grass at Wimbledon, the tournament that either launches careers or freezes them. Alex arrived as a name casual fans barely recognized and left having reached the 4th round, part of a run where she won 12 of her previous 16 matches. That's not a hot streak, that's a pattern, and patterns are dangerous, because once the tour notices one, the seeding shifts and a player who used to sneak up on opponents can't sneak anymore. Everyone sees her coming now. Whether that's a blessing or a curse is the real question. From the outside, her ranking looks stable, even comfortable. But comfortable is the word to distrust most in tennis, because rankings are a rolling 52-week ledger where every point carries a silent expiration date, ticking down while she sleeps. Her total stands at 1,666 points from 18 counting results. 11 are locked in the 4 Grand Slams, plus her best combined results from the mandatory WTA 1000 events. The remaining 7 are flexible and replaceable. And for a rising player, replaceable points aren't a liability, they're fuel. Because every time an older result drops off the back of that window, a stronger one can slide in the front. Alex is about to walk through 4 of those doors back to back: Washington, Toronto, Cincinnati, and the US Open. For chances, one tightly closing window before the season resets. Washington isn't the glamorous stop, it's the one people scroll past. She needs just 2 match wins there to nudge her ranking upward. But even one win does something subtle. It swaps an aging spring result for a fresh one with a new 12-month shelf life. It's survival math, the invisible move that separates players who plateau from players who keep climbing. Washington is only the setup. The real drama builds in Canada and detonates in Ohio, Toronto, and Cincinnati, 2 WTA 1000 events back-to-back on hard courts. This time Alex isn't sneaking through qualifying, she's seeded, earning a bye to the 2nd round in Cincinnati worth 35 points before she struck a serve, plus another 25 in Toronto, just for showing up as someone the field now respects. That's 60 points with 0 matches played, and every win beyond adds roughly 30 more. 2 combined wins push her close to an extra 85 points, carrying a total nearing 1,750 into New York. New York is where this stops being a slow burn and turns into a full-blown gamble. At the US Open, Alex isn't only chasing new points, she's defending old ones too. A result from last year's tournament is still on her ledger, set to expire the moment this year's event ends. 1 win keeps her level, 2 wins net a genuine 60-point gain. But if she catches fire like at Wimbledon and storms into the 4th round, the math turns seismic, an extra 150 points, pushing her total past 1,900, a leap big enough to rearrange the entire top 25. Just as the Open wraps in early September, a separate set of points disappears: a WTA 125 title from Guadalajara last year, expiring after nearly 12 months on her count. For most players that would sting. For Alex, it barely registers, because by then her ranking has unlocked a new tier: the WTA 500 in Singapore, then a grueling China swing through Beijing and Wuhan, 2 more WTA 1000 events, with a possible Guadalajara stop before Singapore if New York goes badly. Which raises the uncomfortable question every underdog story faces: what happens if her body says stop before the rankings do? This exact stretch broke her last year. She pushed through late October across 4 tournaments and walked away with a single match win. Quiet exhaustion that never makes headlines because it just looks like a player fading with each match. Is this the year she avoids that wall or runs into it again? Nobody knows, not even Alex herself. But here's the twist. The points she's defending from that grueling stretch last autumn, from Sao Paulo, Jinan, and Hong Kong, aren't even part of her current top 18 counting results. When they expire, they cost her nothing. It's the rarest spot an athlete can occupy. Fatigue threatens her body, but not her ranking. Win, and she rises. Lose, and she stays put. A couple of wins across that four-stop Asian swing: Singapore, the China Open, Wuhan, Hong Kong pushes her toward 2,000 points by end of October on conservative math alone. Even the most pessimistic read, stripping out every hot streak, still lands her between 2,000 and 2,200. That's the floor. Now picture the ceiling. 2,000 points is exactly the neighborhood where rankings bend toward the top 20, and once you see who lives there, it gets more dramatic. Leylah Fernandez at 25 is defending 1,000 points, so large a number that almost any slip sends her tumbling. The player at 31 is sitting on 750 points about to vanish. Marilina Boskova at 21 is hauling a 700-point burden, like carrying a second opponent onto the court with her players playing defense, terrified of losing ground they fought years to earn. Then there's Alex, defending just 190. While the field above her white-knuckles at standing, she's the only one in that cluster with almost nothing to lose and everything to gain, seeding points landing in her lap in Toronto and Cincinnati before she's broken a sweat, with a clear runway to November while everyone else braces for a fall. Clara Tauson, at 30, is exposed on 670 points. Emma Navarro has 400 at risk, different scale, same direction, down. Madison Keys and the player at 29 carry light enough loads to climb alongside Alex, and a cluster in the mid-20s looks steady enough to hold ground either way. Then there's the one name on this chart that should make you sit up. A player defending a staggering 1,500 points, more defensive weight than almost anyone outside the sport's top 5. One bad tournament, and that number collapses. If that slide happens while Alex is stacking points across 2 continents, world number 19 stops sounding like fantasy and becomes a plausible Tuesday in November. Even setting the fairy tale aside, the sober outcome still lands Alex around number 24 once the season closes. That matters because a top 24 finish means a seed at the Australian Open, no dangerous, unseeded floater waiting to end her January early. It means entering 2027 with a launching pad instead of a coin flip, bringing us back to 190 points. Not just a static gap between a player quietly consolidating a strong season and one about to blow it open. Every other name near her is staring at a wall of points they must defend just to stand still. Alex is staring at open field, and open fields in tennis never stay open for long, which is exactly why the next 4 months matter so much. Washington arrives in a couple of weeks, her first hardcourt appearance since March, the opening scene of a stretch that could define her entire 2027. Maybe she wins twice in Cincinnati and rockets past a name that's held its ground above her for a year. Maybe she stumbles in New York and has to lean on the Asian swing to close the gap. Maybe the player carrying that 1,500-point burden collapses and hands her an opening nobody saw coming. Or maybe fatigue catches up with her again like last October, and the story stalls 3 tournaments early. Nobody watching right now knows which version we're about to get, which is exactly why you should be refreshing the rankings page every Monday for the rest of the year. So here's the question worth sitting with. Does Alex crash through the top 20 before the calendar turns, or does a steady climb into the low 20s end up being the smarter, safer version of this story? Both paths lead somewhere good, only one makes for a better highlight reel. Drop your prediction before you go, because in 4 months we're coming back to this exact number, 190, to find out whether it became the quietest advantage in women's tennis or the loudest one.